Go ahead and disagree with the brethren. Do it today, and years later, they were wrong. We are taught they speak on behalf of God. Were you wrong then, or are you wrong now? Here's my thought on this. What if there's something that one of the church leaders said that you wished you could believe, but you just can't? You literally just are unable to believe that. Maybe it's the story of Zelph that Joseph Smith taught. Maybe it's the idea that there were horses in the Book of Mormon. Maybe it's the idea that polygamy was something that God wanted people to do. Maybe it's the Book of Abraham. There's a lot of stuff that people have trouble with. The author of the CES letter had a whole list of things. So what do you do if you're in this situation? You truly feel that belonging to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is right and good for you, but you find yourself unable to believe something, one of its truth claims. Or maybe you believe that something that it's doing is not good, it's bad. Well, you've got options. You can always leave the church. That's what a lot of people do. Lots of people leave the church, and you're free to do that. People might hunt you down with cookies for a while, maybe a long while. Your family might say some judgmental, rude things, and eventually, probably, you'll be okay. At least based on what all the ex-Mormons tell me. I would like to point out, though, that leaving is not your only option. And the alternative is not a life of cognitive dissonance either. Usually, just a little bit of nuance can fix most of, if any, cognitive dissonance. Sometimes coming up with these nuances can be hard. Sometimes you can't find a nuance that works for you. Still not able to believe it. One of the apostles recently said, doubt your doubts before you doubt your faith. And a lot of the ex-Mormons have really thought that was funny or terrible and have made fun of him for saying that. I think it is actually a very viable thing to say, maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know what's best. Maybe other people are more educated than I am and they know more on this subject or they've experienced things more than I have. I think it's okay to say that. I think that's humble to say that. But you could also say, maybe the church leaders are not right on this thing. Maybe this was a mistake that they made. Maybe this was a goof up. As the comment says, go ahead, disagree with them, do it today. You can do that. You know, in order to go to the temple, there's only a few basic questions they ask. In order to get baptized, there's only a few basic questions they ask. One of those questions is not, do you believe that the church leaders are infallible and will never make any mistakes? They'll never be delusional about anything. They'll never have any bias or wrong ideas, and they'll never commit any sins. That's not one of the temple recommend questions. That's not one of the baptismal questions. You don't have to believe that. You can believe that they're wrong about stuff, or they made mistakes, or they goofed up, or even that they lied or sinned. You don't have to have the same view of history. You don't have to have the same view on doctrine, on everything. There's a few things that you do need to. Now, sometimes you can get in trouble if you're running around actively teaching things contrary to what the brethren have laid down as true. But actively teaching something and having the opinion and kind of keeping it to yourself are different. You are allowed to have whatever opinions you want to have in the church. Now, if they contradict with the temple recommend interview questions or the baptismal questions, that would be a pretty serious concern. You might want to rethink your membership or reevaluate, your beliefs. But if it's some doctrinal or historical thing, or some, especially if it's kind of fringy, probably not a big deal. You don't need to worry about it. You can just assume, well, either I'm wrong or they're wrong. I don't know which one it is. Maybe I'll doubt my doubts before I doubt my faith. That's what the apostles recommend. Maybe I'll just assume, hey, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Or maybe they were wrong. Turns out you can actually still serve in the church and enjoy church membership and enjoy the temple and enjoy all those wonderful things and not be sure about these things. You don't have to come across the first thing you're like, I don't know if that's right. I have to leave the church right now. Nobody would be in the church if that was the case. All of us have certain things that we aren't exactly sure about. Welcome to earth. There are things that the apostles and prophets have been unsure about. And that's okay. It's not a big deal. We don't know everything here on the earth. And we don't always get to choose what we're able to believe. For me personally, I do believe in God. I'm not able to believe otherwise. I also believe that this is the Church of Jesus Christ. It was organized by God under his command. I'm not able to believe otherwise. I believe the Book of Mormon was inspired of God. I'm not able to believe otherwise. Now, sure, there's a lot of other details that I'm not sure about. And sometimes I think the church leaders are wrong on things, but I know sometimes the church leaders disagree with other church leaders on things. It's not a big deal. There's no doctrine saying that they're infallible. Everybody's going to be wrong about something sometime. But this is the church of Jesus Christ, not of President Nelson or Joseph Smith or Brigham Young or anybody else. I generally think that taking a humble approach is probably best. But even with that, there might be some things that you just can't get over. And I don't think you necessarily have to, with a few exceptions. Anyway, I hope this is helpful. You're probably not alone. I've probably run into the same things you have, and maybe even felt exactly the same way. If you want help trying to come up with some kind of nuance that can allow you to not feel uncomfortable, please feel free to message me or leave a comment. I hope this helps.